Yes, we're live. Big up. Sorry about that, people. I've had technical issues my end. As always, welcome back to the channel. It's me and Wolfie for the Nottingham Forest versus Arsenal game tomorrow at 5:30. There's some other games that we're all going to have our eyes on, I'm sure, whether you are racing for the top of the table or battling down in the bottom, or of course in mid-table, close to European football, which, let's be real, for anywhere in the table, it's like kind of not really a long lost dream at the moment. A couple of wins and it shoots you straight back up the table. I hope this weekend Nottingham Forest don't do that. Surely Arsenal can beat Sean Dyche, but we will see. OK Jerseys are sponsoring us. If you would like this Bruised Banana shirt, which is probably the most iconic away shirt of Arsenal's history, then you can do so now using the code DAN15, DAN15, 15% off of these jerseys. And if you do not want this one, and you want, of course, the red currant one from 2006, the home shirt, the iconic home shirt, then of course use that code as well. Click on the link now in the live chat. It's pinned or in the description, and you can get this. If you are listening on audio, it is okjerseys.com, and you use the code DAN15, and you will select the Bruised Banana kit or the red currant kit with 15% off, which is an absolute bargain. You can also get any name and number on the back. So if you want this era, you can get Righty, Rocky. If you want the 2006 era, you can get Bergkamp, Henry, Perez, whoever you want. So go and show them some love, people. Wolfie, how are you, bruv?
Good, mate. Good. Forest aren't playing today, so it's you get 6 days out the week. Well, until next week when you get back into Europe, where you cannot think about it, bro. But yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I see you're doing your best Sean Dyche impression. Red face, little sweaty. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. This is called. I don't know if people have ever heard of it. It's called The Gym. I've not heard of it either, but in January I've become good friends with it, and I had a nice shower, because when you work out, I always go in like the little spa bit afterwards because I feel like I deserve a treat. The problem is it takes me 4 hours to calm down, and because I'm a little bit ginge, my face goes completely red. So yeah, it is a bit Sean Dyche.
Shave your hair. You know what? Shave your hair off. They got a little bit like that with your voice.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying, man? It's like miles off.
We're trying to get 1-0. That's all we care about. 1-0
stand up. A few times,
Yeah, man. It's like the ginger Beppe DeMarco from EastEnders all them years ago, isn't it? This guy. I don't know if you remember him, but look, how do you feel, man, about this game? Talk to me, because I know that you have family members who are big into Arsenal, and obviously you're big into Forest with other family members. So this one's probably going to mean a little bit more than just a genuine game of football. But what are you saying? We're doing well this season. Forest are struggling. I don't think you're going to go down, but you're obviously looking towards that kind of relegation battle, so to speak, at the moment. But Sean Dyche has done dirty on us before, bro. And we don't do well at your ground. Like in the last 5 visits, I think we've beat you once, and that was in the 23-24 season when Jesus scored. And if I'm honest, I remember some bad times going up there. I went up the day that you guys stayed up. I met you up there, you and the boys, 1-0. Thomas Partey was playing right back. We lost the game 1-0. You stayed up and we threw away our title. Few seasons before that, we lost to you in the Say No More to Red white kit in the FA Cup when you was in the Championship that year with Jed Spencer, man. Beat us 1-0. And then the season or two before that, we had Wenger and we lost 4-2. Ben Brereton, I remember, scored and dunked on us. So you must have like a little bit of confidence to think that you're maybe a bogey side, even though you're not really a massive fan of Sean Dyche, bro. What are you telling me?
Yeah, I like how you've built a nice narrative, building the game up, make it spicy and everything. I'm here to tell you, you Arsenal fans have absolutely nothing to worry about. I don't see any problems for you. You can go into it quite relaxed. I can go into it quite relaxed. We all know the outcome of this game as far as I'm concerned. I hear what you're saying, the historical side of it. Yeah, we beat you in those FA Cups, and even when we were in the Championship. We've had that win where Taiwo scored. It's probably his last goal. It's been that long since he scored. Actually, no, he scored when you beat us 2-1, didn't he?
Yeah. It was awful from Saliba, funny enough. He actually made a mistake and Taiwo won you.
Do you know what? I'm just thinking is what he scored at the Emirates when you beat us 2-1 opening day of the season. He must be the only Forest player that scored against you since we've been back up. I don't know if that's a true fact or not, but it's just coming to me. But yeah, so he won't be playing.
He won last year, 0-0. Was it 0-0 last
year? Yeah, that was a dire game.
Oh, that was so bad,
dire one. Yeah, it was about this time, wasn't it? January. So yeah, look, our squad is good. Our players are good. It's just not working on the pitch. Now, Dyche is doing an okay job in terms of what he came in for, which I don't agree with. I think Forest broke the glass too early. It was like what, October time when he came in, and it's just like, yeah, we want to stay up. Whereas the squad is better than that, man. We spent over 200 million. I just think it's his football, bro. I just can't stand it. I just can't stand long balls, crosses into the box, a disconnection between the striker and the midfield, and the striker ends up dropping in too deep. He's meant to be this so-called legendary manager at defending corners and scoring from corners. Yet to see it. So you guys are good at corners. You're good at dead balls. That's a mismatch already for me. I'd be shocked if you don't score from a dead ball situation. And this isn't the banter, Arsenal corner FC, because I've always said to you, I don't care how you score a goal. They all weigh the same amount. But in terms of the mismatch, it's a horrible mismatch on that front. Where it might weigh in our favor is big up Mark.
Big up Mark.
You know what? I feel it. Yeah, I felt like that at Wrexham. It's the FA Cup. We weren't going through. If you're going to lose, just get tongued and get rid of it.
What did you think just quickly of his comments, by the way, after the game? I thought that was quite funny. I thought it was quite old school. Like, they're knocking on my door saying, why aren't I playing? There you go. That's the excuse. Why are you not playing? Or do you think that was just like more manager fault than player fault?
I agree with his comments, but I don't agree with him saying it, because I got told by all my Everton mates, the biggest issue they had with Dyche was when they won, he would want the red carpet rolled out. He would want everyone to give him the plaudits and everything. When they lost, the players messed up, or the fans weren't loud enough, or all this stuff. And I'm seeing those traits now. So it just felt to me like he was passing the buck of blame over to the players. He's there saying, these players aren't playing, and now you see why. Well, you're here, and these are the players you've got. Coach them then. Get a tune out of them. These players cost money. You can't just ditch them to one side. What if we get an injury, God forbid, and you suddenly need to turn to the player that you just cussed down, and you gotta say, yeah, I think you're crap, mate, but you know what, needs a must. So it's just one of those. It's not very settled in the fan base. There are those who are really pro Dyche, and there are a number of people on my side, I guess, who are anti Dyche. But it's not good to have that either in the fan base. You need almost a united fan base, like we had under Nuno. Like Nuno's football, like if you really deep it, wasn't that dissimilar to Dyche in terms of the philosophies, but there was tactics behind it. But you were getting the results. And most fan bases, as long as you're getting results, who cares, right? And if it becomes sustainable, cool. With Dyche, it's the odd one. You get the highlight of Liverpool, my highlight of beating Spurs, but then you get Everton. When you had those double games where we were all playing the same team twice.
Oh, yeah.
Ours was Everton. We lost on aggregate 5-0 to his former club. And you would expect, you go against your old club, you would understand the players there. I think 9 out of the 11 that started were under him, and it was their B team because they had quite a few off on AFCON, suspended, etc. What was his tactics? Oh, I know what. I'll put 52 crosses in to the two defenders in there who are 6'4" and 6'2", who head the ball away for fun. But yeah, that'll be my tactic. So those are the frustrations. I've said where I have my hope, if any, is his performances against Big Six teams have been way, way better than against the other 13 teams. So what he's done, his tactics tend to suit playing. Like, even when we lost to Man City, I thought we played really well. We played really well against Spurs. Man U, we should have won that one in the second half. We played better than them. And then I can't remember who the other one is. Chelsea, he hasn't had, but those are the ones he's had where we've looked good. So that could be something you guys need to worry about, that you're almost playing into his tactics. And as you said at the start, you guys have fallen foul of it a couple of times. I just think my biggest hope is that if Man City beat United in the morning game, that applies pressure on you. I think it's more so the external factors that will favour Forest rather than anything Dyche will produce tactically on the pitch. So I don't hold much hope, mate, but at least my son will probably leave with a smile on his face.
I hope he does, man. Look,
I
we
hope
played
he
Sean
does.
Dyche quite sometimes, man. We've played obviously Forest, Everton, and Burnley. I'm looking at the scenario now, thinking Sean Dyche has actually caused some problems for us. I remember last season, stinky 0-0 against Everton at home. We
Mm.
lost 1-0 and his manager bounced at Everton at their place when they were still at Goodison Park about 3 seasons ago. We were in the middle of a
Yeah.
title race then in 22-23. I think we just pulled away from City and they clawed back because of that
Yeah.
result.
That was his first
Um,
game for them.
it was his new
Mm.
manager bounce. So I'm hoping that we're not going to get that kind of banana skin one here. You are right, though. He has played. I watched your game against City in the pub because we were playing after that.
Mm.
And I actually thought Forest were all right. I thought you were
Yeah.
decent. I actually thought there was a chance for you to take something. And if it wasn't for a Ryan Cherky screamer, you would have taken a point. So I don't think it's going to be a given here. I do think it's going to be quite a close game. But looking at Arsenal, I know you've been
Just can I just add one point? Sorry,
yeah,
Pops,
go
just
on,
on
bro.
that. By the way, the players don't get away with it scot-free because
Okay.
part of the reason we look good against, or better, should I say, against the big six teams is because these charlatans decide they want to turn up. Maybe they're putting themselves in the shop window. So that annoys me as well. Like, yeah, my anger is I didn't want Dyche, but I got serious anger to some of these players who are just turning up for big games.
Yeah, facts. I think you're right there. Let's talk about some of those players as well quickly before we
Mm.
go to Arsenal. Who's looking good right now? Because last season I was a big fan of Forest. I was a big fan of what Gibbs White was doing, Callum Hudson-Odoi. I thought Murillo and Milenkovic were excellent. Ola Aina was excellent. Chris Wood was excellent. In midfield, everyone's talking about Elliot Anderson.
Mm.
But some of those players haven't quite been up to it. Is that because of Sean Dyche or is that a bit of both? Like, why is that, bro?
I mean, the players are using the excuse of all the off-field stuff to moan and kind of act like kids and just be like, "Oh, we had Nuno. Oh, Nuno's gone. Oh, we didn't like Ange. Oh, Dyche has come in. We need to learn his style of games and what have you." I'm glad you asked me who's looked good because that's a quicker question than who's looked bad. Because the only person for me who's been consistent enough all season, who I have nothing but respect for, is Nico Williams. He's by far and away. Everyone's talking about Anderson. Nico Williams has been better than Anderson in terms of consistency for me. Anderson's dropped off over the last 4 weeks under Dyche. Maybe that's because Sangare's been away at AFCON, sorry. So Sangare's back for this game. He better throw him straight in. Milenkovic has fallen off a cliff as well in the last month. Murillo is still okay, but he's recovered from injury. I think that's more an injury-related one than anything else. Chris Wood, his knees blown out, so I don't think we'll see him all season. Gibbs White's been okay in stops and starts. Like he'll go through a little purple patch where he scores, in a couple of games in a row, which he's in the moment. So hopefully he can do that tomorrow. But yeah, our wingers are rubbish apart from Hutchinson. Ola Aina's just come back, injury. So it's been very stop-start with Forest getting a consistent team. Whereas last season, the fitness was just there. The injuries were very low. And we were able, even though our squad was thin, we were able to put out a consistent squad week in, week out. But the back four that we were so reliant on last year has now re-emerged itself after injuries for probably the last 2 games, or 2, maybe 3 games. So hopefully they can start to click back into the form they had last season. But I don't know, man. I'm not confident.
Look, you got some good players, and really and truly, the Nottingham Forest squad should not be down there, in my opinion. I look at the squad and I think it's decent. I've got to be honest with you. I'm quite a fan of Igor Jesus. Chris Wood, when he's on,
I like him.
fit and firing, looks good. Obviously, I'm a big fan of your wingers, and I think you've got one of the better players. I know he's been dropping off, and as Sophie said in the chat, he's dropped off. Elliot Anderson, she'd know as a Newcastle fan, but he has dropped off. But he's still a good player. I still like Murillo. I think he's excellent. And I'm glad you brought up Nico Williams because I think he's been going under the radar. Like, no one talks about him. He's been underrated. He's been consistent. He's been really good. He was hyped up at Liverpool. And when you signed him, everyone went, oh, good signing. Didn't really know if he was a right back, right winger, left winger, but he's come in and been consistent for you. And I think that's the players that we have to then look at. But if we move to Arsenal, before you start looking at the key battles and some of the players that you're worried about from us, what have you made of us this season? Things are looking good, Wolfie. Let's just be real. Whether you're a fan of the manager or not, whether you believe he's going to get across the line or not, we're top of the league and Champions League. In the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, some think we've got a foot in the final, and we're in the FA Cup still in the next round. We've got Wigan at home. So you'd like to think that all 4 competitions for Arsenal this season are going to be realistic to go quite far in them. What have you made of Arsenal so far?
I think for me, there's been too much forward projecting from quite a bit of the Arsenal fan base and us as rivalists on panels when we're having our fun on the panel shows. And I think sometimes you don't need to do that. Sometimes you need to take stock and check of where you currently are. You've just outlined it. If I said to you, if we were doing, Race to Europe or whatever shows we do together back in August, and I said to you, we'll sit here on the 16th of January, you'll be top of the league. What is it, 6 points clear? I think I've stopped looking at the league table after week 1, but you're going to be top of the Champions League. You're guaranteed to qualify with a couple of games to go through. In fact, you're probably going to qualify top just by putting out a B team. You're going to be in the lead in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, and you're through on the FA Cup. There's not a single Arsenal fan, pro-Arteta or anti-Arteta, that would have said, 1, I'm not confident we can do that, and then 2, of course, I'm taking that and biting your hand off. So you got to judge the scenario on where you are now. And Arsenal are nearly faultless in terms of what they've done this season. For me, there have been some games where I still see the Arteta-ness coming out, not so much in performance, but in the mentality. Like Man City dropped points, you went and drew to Liverpool. Okay, it's not an easy game, but there was a couple of Sunderland one, I think, as well. If I remember rightly, there was points dropped by the other team, and you didn't capitalize. But it's not so much from the performance. And that's really the only thing I can hold against Arsenal. Everything else, bro, you can't really be unhappy as an Arsenal fan. I think there's only probably 3-4 happy fan bases right now in the league, or there should be. Arsenal are one of them. I'd say Leeds would be quite happy, Sunderland and Brentford. Outside of that, everyone else has gripes. So I'd take being in that small little pile of happy fan bases. So, yeah, I can't fault it. And I'll be honest, Arteta's done a lot better than I expected him to do this season. The squad, I think Burton needs a lot of credit for what he's done in the summer. And everything else is nitpicking. Everything else is completely nitpicking. The whole Gyökeres conversations. Find me an Arsenal fan that's going to cry about the amount of goals Gyökeres has if you've got, if you're seeing armpits in the summer. So, and if he doesn't work out, you can address that in the summer with some trophies. So right now, you're doing fantastic. Yeah, you can forward project and think, can City catch you? Can this happen? Will you bottle this, that, or the other? But right now, you got to be happy where things are.
Facts. No, look, you're spitting facts, bro. And there's a lot of rival fans that can't hack it and they want to try and nitpick, like you say. But I let them, bro. It's calm. Like, it's absolutely no. But and also to caveat that, I'm not getting too excited. I wait till May. I don't win stuff in October, right? The first thing I want to win is that Carabao Cup. I do think we've got one foot in the final, and I do think we'll go through. Unfortunately, I think it will be Manchester City. Not that I think Newcastle will be easy, but I do think it would be easier than Manchester City because I just think Man City are better. I think that's proven this season. But I do think that Arsenal should go all out to win that. And then I feel like we've got more confidence then. We've got momentum and we've actually won something, Wolfie. These players ain't won nothing. They're good. They're a great group of players, but they deserve to win something. But they got to win. And if they ain't winning, then we got to have another talk in the summer. And I don't want to have that other talk. It's just become toxic again, bruv. So I want to think that. But let me ask you, what do you think Arsenal will win? Or do you still not think we will win anything this season?
I think you probably get the FA Cup. I think you go really deep in the Champions League. I don't know on the league. I was like always saying Man City from the start of the season. However, over the recent weeks where they have slipped up with those 3 draws, I do put you slight favourites now. But I'm looking at it as a 3-point gap, not a 6-point gap, because the game at the Etihad. But from their paradigm, from their paradigm, not yours. So I see, like, I want Arsenal to win it, but I just think Pep is just Pep. He's never gone 2 seasons in a row without lifting the title. You got to respect that kind of CV. I think he can do it, bro. My only concern for Arsenal is maybe you're trying to win too much this season. In a weird way, where you're going to find yourself in the Champions League semi-finals on a Tuesday, and then you got a big Premier League game, then an FA Cup game to fit in, and then towards the end of Feb or early March, whenever the final is for the Carabao Cup. But you've put yourselves in a position that you can do that with the depth of the squad. So now it's, do you trust Arteta to get the right team selections for the right matches in that congested period of that season? So I think you should come out with some silverware, but What silverware it'll be, I'm not sure. I think FA Cup probably. And the other, if you're going to get a major, I'd fancy you more for the Premier League than the Champions League.
That's fair. I
Because
think
it's not
that's fair.
easy winning Champions League, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you got 2 stars, you know, wouldn't know about that, bro. But I'll be real. I think the Champions League's actually the one that I want. But the league,
Yeah.
we can't be 6 points clear and not win the league. Like we've done it before, we can't do it again.
Mm.
And if we do it again, then there will be a massive amount of pressure on the manager from every sort of angle, really, whether it be the fans, the media, the up above him. I think the Cronkies will probably, for the first time ever, have come out and said we're not winning to his silverware this season. It's got to be this season. And with Berta there now as well, giving him what he needs, I don't think he's really got any excuses. And that's the one thing I will say before we move, right? I understand and appreciate everything you're saying about Man City and Pep. But if we lose to this version of Manchester City, I think it's kind of embarrassing in comparison to the cities that we've lost to previously, because you can't be embarrassed losing to the treble-winning City and the City we lost to after that, because for me, there were 2 unbelievable sides that will probably go down in history as being one of the best that the Premier League's seen. But when you lose to Arne Slot's Liverpool and Pep Guardiola's Manchester City that he's rebuilding, and we're the strongest squad and we've got this, that, and the third, and we're the most settled and balanced team, I can't really have any other excuses. It needs to be this season, bruv. It needs to be. And if it isn't this season, I really don't think it's a bad conversation to have to say, should we go and try and find someone who can get us across the line? But the fans won't want that. They'll still want Mikel Arteta. Do you know what I mean?
I hear it. Like, I've seen more of the process development this year than I have over the last few years. But I still stand that I think you should have won it last year. I think that City drop-off was big enough and shocking enough for everyone for me to think Arsenal should have stepped up and taken it that one. I almost think you would have found it easier to win it last year than this year, against a Slot who's just come into Liverpool, because he wasn't put under any pressure. And now we've seen him this season under pressure. And we've seen how that's happened there. But I think if he doesn't do it this year, I'm sorry, but football is a short-term game in fans' eyes, in some owners' eyes. I know yours might think differently, but you got to win it. You got to win something. I think you need a major this year for him to survive. But maybe a Carabao Cup keeps him in the job. I don't know.
I think silverware will keep him in the job. Some fans would disagree with that. I just want him to win a trophy. Other fans want to pick the trophy he has to win. And I don't believe that either is wrong. I think when you are successful, you're lifting something, which means you should be able to stay for another year. But also when you've had 6 already and you've got to the end of it and you've just won something that Newcastle won last season, maybe you'll look at that differently and go, actually, no, sorry, that still isn't good enough for the standards of this football club. So I can't say that either is wrong. Let's talk about this game, though, because you'll look at Arsenal and there'll be some kind of key battles and maybe some key individuals you're looking at being. Where would you say that is right now?
Just broke up. Are you there, bro?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. You're okay, you're back.
I'm back. Sorry, mate. I froze. There's some key battles at the weekend, key players. Who are the key individuals you're looking at as from an Arsenal perspective, bro?
The players that I really rate at Arsenal, I don't know if them talks about enough. I really like Timber. I remember I was doing box to box with Turkish the summer you made those signings. I was like, Timber is a player. He's going to be really good for you. And then he went and got injured that afternoon against us. So my bad. I put the hoodoo on him. But he's been brilliant, bro. I don't think he gets talked about enough. So I'm looking forward to seeing that battle between him and Nico Williams as Timber progresses forwards. Will Nico Williams be able to get anything on him? I think that'll be a good battle. The battle in the midfield, if Dyche had a brain cell in his head, he would put a midfield 3 instead of going 4-2-3-1. And I'd like to see Sangare, Anderson, and Dominguez in that midfield 3 and really just put some numbers in there and try and get physical with your midfield. If we don't, your midfield will absolutely school us. And he's probably going to play the long ball. So the other battle to watch out for, the one who's really impressing me in terms of the way he battles is Jesus. He's only like 5'9", 5'10", but he's really physical up against the centre-backs. And he's given every centre-back he's come across a real torrid time. Diaz struggled against him when we played Man City. The problem is he becomes too disconnected from the midfield because of Dyche's tactics. The gap is too big sometimes, so he doesn't get that support. But that should be the battles. But the main battle is going to be when you guys get free kicks or corners. And I think that's what worries me about tomorrow. Will Forest be able to mark him? Will they keep an eye on Gabriel's movement in the box? I think Declan Rice's deliveries from corners are the best in the world. Like I think he could hit the same position in the same, repeat those corners over and over again. The consistency is ridiculous. So that's where I think the game gets won and lost. Now, where I think the other battle comes into play is if we can get to 30 minutes and it's still 0-0, and then if we can get to half time and it's still 0-0, does the nerve start to creep into the players and the away end and everything like that? That could happen. But Forest under Dyche, we concede a lot of goals in injury time at the end of the first half or at the beginning of the second half. So again, if you're nervous, don't worry. If you haven't scored at halftime, you'll be scoring in the next 5 minutes. So those are where the battles are, bro. And I think our crowd will be up for it. That can help. That can help a lot. When we really get behind that team, that place is an absolute fortress. But it just hasn't quite felt like that in recent times. So you're gonna win, bro. Let's be real, man. Let's be real.
Well, I don't think you're gonna come to win. I think you're gonna come part of the bus and try and take a point. It's up to break you up to us to break you down. Trying to break down low blocks has been difficult, but for Gyökeres's like kind of faults, he has actually helped us in that respect. The stats are quite phenomenal, actually. When I look at the games that we've played with him, we've pretty much beaten everybody that we struggled against last season that put a low block in against us. So he's quite good for breaking down low blocks. Eza's very good for breaking down low blocks, but I don't think he's going to play. I think he's going to start Odegaard again, who's been woeful.
But Odegaard, even when he's looked rubbish, has always played well against Forest. Even last season, he's done really well against Forest. I'd rather he went Eze, to be honest. But Odegaard, I know he's split the fan base, but against Forest, I can't think of a bad performance he's put in. Maybe last season at our ground in the 0-0. I can't remember he played. But yeah, this should be light work, bro. Should be light work.
Should be, but I'll be real. There's definitely been worse games I've seen. But look, I'll be real with you. I don't think Forest are going down. I do think Sean Dyche will stay till the summer, and I do think he'll be replaced if your fans actually do kick off. But I just don't know I just don't see a world where Forest gets horrendously bad to them. And Marinakis goes, I've had enough under Dyche. If it was like under Ange, I could see that going wrong because he's not going to. Dyche is going to set you up to take points, and that's going to be enough to keep Marinakis happy, not the fan base happy. I suppose it could matter what happens in your Europa League run. Yeah. Like if he was to go and lose to someone like bad and get knocked out of that, then the fans might kick off and he might pull the plug. We've seen him do that.
I think the fans will have more patience, bro. Like our fan base is quite patient because of the amount of managers we've had over the years, but I'm not.
Well, I know that. But do you think there's a plan like to go and what I mean by that is there a plan like to go and replace Dyche in the summer? Do you think that Marinakis has already thought ahead, or do you think he's just like, no, we're happy for now?
I hope so. I'm hearing noises behind the staff that there's arguments, be it between the players and the manager internally with Edu. I know a lot of your chat are asking us to talk about Edu.
Yeah.
Most Forest fans think he's been a disaster, an absolute disaster. I was happy with him, and now I'm even starting to turn on him. He's got one fan left in Ant, and that's it. Ant is like his cheerleader, his PR, and everything. I think he's in the chat as well. But
he's got a link to Arsenal, man. He loves Arsenal, and does.
He does love Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, respect is the word he'd tell me to use when talking about Arsenal and his feelings towards them. But yeah, Edu is the most.
Why has he been so bad then? Has it just been the recruitment side of things, or what?
What's funny is if you ask Forest fans who don't like Edu, what does Edu do? I don't think they'd be able to tell you what his day in, day out job or even his job title. Do you know what I mean? But the whole Edu thing is because of what happened with Nuno at the start of the season into the pre-season. So there was obviously friction. Obviously, there was only going to be one winner there, and it wasn't Nuno. And that put Edu on the back foot. And then the signings he's made, apart from, I'd say, Hutchinson and Igor Jesus, haven't really come to the table and put a stake to a position. And that's where now the debate is happening. Have Edu signings been rubbish? And I think there's an argument to say they have been. Now, at the time, pretty much 90% of the fan base was saying, you know what a summer. We spent 200 million. Look at the players we've got in and what have you. But now the conversation is being had with hindsight. And I think it's a conversation that does need to be had. So to go back to your question, I think a reset is needed in the summer. Edu gone, Dyche gone, reset, get rid of some of this deadwood that we signed up in the summer. It's just getting to the summer now. Will that be with the Europa League? I'd like to think so. Would that be in the Premier League? Probably so, thanks to double agent Nuno, who I'm certain Marinakis sent to West Ham on purpose. So, it's just a mess, bro. It's just an absolute mess. But it's not as bad as what Palace are going through today.
Oh, they're a finished club, man. Glasner going, Gehi going, with on top of Eza, Elise, be Wharton next.
Apparently going
Friedman, but Mateta, to Juve. Is that serious? Wow. I can't believe what I'm seeing with Palace. That Glasner, by the way, fair play to him, because he's just won the FA Cup and gone, right, with Eza and Gehi, now we're selling them, eh? Oh, I'm going then. That's basically what he's done. You gonna give any money? No. Okay. Who are we gonna get? Brennan Johnson. Oh, I'm done. I'm tapped out. See you later. Like, it's just embarrassing, really. Like,
you know what? I don't see it happening. But if Marinakis got Glasner to Forest, there would be riots at Palace, because they still blame Marinakis for the Europa League stuff.
You should go for him, man. You should go all out.
I you know what? I'd take him just for the funniness of it, man. It would be hilarious.
I do rate him. D just cried.
His mind, man.
Have you seen him Have you seen D today on Twitter? He's beefing Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah, he's beefing Romano. He's calling him a liar.
He's a bozo and a liar.
And then Glasner comes out and says, "Yeah, I'm going." It's been decided since October.
So funny, man. If anyone hasn't seen it, go and look at D Palace on Twitter. Make sure you give him a follow and just watch his beef with Fabrizio Romano. It's absolutely hilarious, man. It really is. Let me ask this question. It's kind of touched on this. Wolfie, do you think Marinakis makes a break play for Glasner? Could be a good marriage. Fireworks for sure. You've obviously just touched on that. Do you think that's realistic, though? Or is that like, do you think he's going to go?
I feel like Glasner is probably going to go like Man U or something in the summer, something like that. We did shortlist Glasner before we got
go to Forest and Man U, I think. Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know at the moment with Edu and stuff. But I think he'll have a look at him. One thing about Marinakis is he's ambitious. And that's why I think he's made many mistakes this season. But I won't turn on him because I know what he wants. You know what I'm saying? He's pushing. He's a proper owner who isn't just after Champions League money. He wants trophies. And he's stated that as a fact. So yeah, would he go for Glasner? I wouldn't be surprised if he made a play for him, but I don't think Glasner will come to Forest. I think it'll be Marco Silva. That's the one he really wants.
Yeah, it could be, actually. I think there's that relationship there previously as well, isn't there? So that would actually be a really good appointment. I don't think he's saying it Fulham, I understand as well. So I think that would be
his contract's out, Iriola's contract's out, Glasner's contract's out. There's going to be a lot of manager movement in the summer. So I think any clubs that are on the fence about sacking someone will look to sack if they think they can get one of those three or a couple of others.
Is there anyone abroad you would take? Fabregas?
Fabregas would be the one. Yeah, Fabregas. I'm liking what he's doing, bro. He's looking. I think he needs a Premier League club like Forest to then really put himself on the stage. And then I think he's going to be big going forward.
Yeah, I must admit, I've been very impressed with him behind the scenes. I wouldn't take him at Arsenal, but I think we need a winner. But I do think he's one that's up and coming. I think he'll be in the kind of Alonso bracket, and these guys that are coming through now, I think he will do something. But what he's done with that Como, to get them up and to put them anywhere near the kind of playoff, so not playoffs, you know what I mean, sort of European spots, is unbelievable. So
it's his play style, bro. They
play great football.
They're to watch, and that's
they got that Madrid guy, haven't they? What's his name? Is it Paz? Nico Paz? They got him. Yeah. We'll see, man. Look, before we close, what are you saying for a prediction, bruv?
I said 2-0 Arsenal. That for me would be a win. You know what I'm saying? Just take your 2 goals, piss off back to North London, and just let me then shout about Dyche and my players afterwards in peace. I think it'd be 2-0. I think it'd be 2-0.
Fair play, man. I like the honesty.
I'll give you one more thing. I haven't seen a defeat at the City ground since like 2017. So I'm on a good streak. I'm on a good streak, bro.
Why did you have to say that, bro? Like, come on, man. You was like, oh, it's 2-0, 2-0. And then, oh, I'll just drop in that I actually have never seen us lose. Like, come on, man.
For ages, man, for ages. But
Oh,
my
no.
away record's terrible. I was there for the 5-0 slapping you gave us in the first season back. I was with my son. Bro, it was so bad that he turned to me and he goes, Daddy, if you want to leave now, it's okay with me. That hurt more than being bantered, bro. That cut deep.
That does cut deep, man, when he's saying that. But look, I think it's going to be 2-1 Arsenal. I actually think it's going to be more nervy. I just think the low block might do us. A lot of people, and I've spoken to judges, Cecil, a few other Arsenal fans, have all gone for 1-0 because they think it's going to be that hard to break you down. I actually think we'll concede, and I think that it'll be 2-1. But I just want to take 3 points, bruv. I don't really care what the score is. As long as we're winning, I don't care if it's a set piece again, a lay, and we're 1-0 in the last minute. It doesn't bother me. We just need to keep getting 3 points now. And the next few games are key, not just for Arsenal, but Manchester City have got in the next few Manchester Derby, they've got Liverpool and they've got Spurs, which we should snigger about. But they always, for some reason, can't beat Tottenham. Even this season, they somehow lost to Frank 2-0. So they're massive like bogey team for them. So look, I think Man City signings will make a difference. I think Semenyo and Gueye are two excellent signings for them. I would have taken both of them now, Arsenal, to be honest. But that would be interesting. But as for tomorrow's game, hopefully, Manchester United can do a madness and pull off a point. That'll do. And then it will make this game even more interesting. So we'll see, man. But look, Wolfie, pleasure having you on, man. What you got coming up, bruv?
I'm on a few. I think I'm on a Vigal in a bit. And then, yeah, I'll be doing the post matches at the game. I think I'm hooking up with Cecil and Robbie afterwards as well. So there'll be a lot of, no doubt, me kicking off about us losing tomorrow. So keep an eye out on that.
Love that, man. Look, if I was going, we'd meet up, but I'm not going tomorrow. So enjoy the game, mate. I hope that your son is more happy than you, and because that means we won. And hopefully we get the job done. Make sure you do me a favor, people. Hit like and subscribe. If you do want these shirts, check out OK Jerseys. The code is Dan15 for this one. You've got the Arsenal Bruce Banana away, and of course the 2006 last season at Highbury shirt as well that are on offer. You can get any name and number on the back from that era that you want as well. So go and treat yourself. Links in the description or live chat right now. We're going to send you over to Johnny Minerals, who I'm on with in about 15 minutes. So go and show some love to him, and I'll see you over there. And yeah, I'll see you next time. We're out.